I just want your kiss. I keep wishing that we never left like this. Don't run away, just listen. Wanna tell you that I can't stop missing your kiss.
Hello, and welcome everyone to Conversations with Tona Brown. I am so excited to speak with my next diva. This is the well-known, her career speaks for itself, Miss Monifah. Thank you so much, Monifah, for coming and doing this and being on Conversations with Tona Brown. How are you doing today?
Hi, Tona. I'm wonderful. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you. I'm excited to talk to you. All
Well,
good today. Long day, girl. Long day.
oh
But I'm wonderful. Blessed.
Good. And we love to see you. We love to see you happy, and I just want for people to know the real you. Who is the woman behind this amazing career? And so could you tell us a little bit about how you were raised and what inspired you to get into music?
Oh, wonderful. Well, I'll start with the last. My family, I come from a musical family. My uncle, my this is on my mom's side. So my maternal side, musical, and musically inclined, and my uncle, my youngest uncle, was a child prodigy pianist, right? A prodigy. My other uncle thought he was Jimi Hendrix. He played the guitar. My grandmother taught her, started taking guitar lessons at like 60, around then. And my mother sang and was in a group. She couldn't continue that because she got married and she got pregnant, had my brothers. So she wasn't able to pursue it with the particular, I think it was the Marvelettes or something. Yeah, so she wasn't able to do the actual all the way, but she sang with them for a bit. She opted to, raise her boys. And so that's where a lot of the talent comes from.
Right.
I was born and raised in New York, the East Harlem section, affectionately and culturally known as El Barrio, because it's where a lot of Puerto Rican immigrants, so to speak, Puerto Ricans came and, settled here in Hell's Kitchen, in that part of Manhattan. It's a part of Manhattan. It's 115th Street and on the east side. And I was raised in, in an urban setting. I grew up in the projects, and but I was aware, my mother made sure very early that we were cultured. She was learning things herself, and she had started a job with the Episcopal Church Center. She was an assistant, a secretary, and but her job entailed travel. And so my mother taught herself a lot of things that she was interested in, and in turn, and then, from working and traveling, that already just kind of broadens your horizons.
Yes,
broadens your horizons. And so she gave that back. My mom was the mom who would take my friends to the theater and to Broadway, and show them that, the world was bigger than the four corners that we were growing up on, which I was very, very blessed, because she made sure I learned to read. Child, I was just about to turn 4. I was like, you're bananas, but I was doing phonics and stuff. Like, she had me doing phonics at 3 and all kind of mess. But I mean, but I became an avid reader. I love to read. I love information. I love to research. English is one of is my favorite subject. I love the English language. And I grew up in the hood. I saw a lot of stuff. I grew up, my teen years was the 80s. I was born in 72. I just made 50 this year.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. And so I grew up in the crack era, and seeing how horribly that affected our community, and it had definitely devastated mine. I lost a lot of friends. It was like being in the middle of a war zone, and we don't look at it that way, but retrospectively, it was a lot of trauma. you know, growing up, losing friends, seeing people die on the street. That was the big that was what sucked about it. But there was some great times. Like the 80s were awesome to grow up in, to be a teenager, great music, great fashion, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
so how did you get your first, like, inclination? You have this upbringing from your mom, same with me.
Right.
What was it that really said, I want to go into singing?
Well, I was singing around the house from very early, my mother said. So I don't remember not wanting to sing, right? So,
Okay.
I mean, I'm talking about full, productions in the house, the hairbrush, the wig, the towel hair, all of it, right? So I was doing that very early on. So I was clear, like I could see it. So you know how we manifest things as kids? We're not jaded. We have no concept of can't, you know what I'm saying? Until those things start being told to us, right? And poured in. So I already knew that I didn't see anything else for myself until I got a little older, where I would have been a psychologist for sure, because I'm human.
Me too.
It's funny because a lot of creatives, and especially a lot of singers, say that. I don't know what that's about, but I find that I'm not the only one.
Yeah, me too.
Like a lot of creatives and stuff. Yeah. So what happened was I'm in second grade, going to PS 57, right across the street from my home. And my second grade teacher, Michelle Donay, we were doing a class production, and she found out I could sing. And she was so blown away. She asked me to be interested in doing, commercials and stuff. Like, she was like, it'd be great. She said, I'll talk to your mom and blah, blah, blah. Well, Michelle Donay ended up being like my second mom. She was my first manager. I started, I got signed to Mary Ellen White agency, who, she knew somebody over there. They put me right in. I was 7.
Second grade. Second
grade, I was a professional since 7, period. That's it. So I did the first high C drink box. That is amazing. Commercial. Yeah, it was awesome. So when High C was the first drink company to bring out the drink boxes, and so when that first came out, I was in that commercial, and so in my neighborhood, I was known as the High C girl.
I did not know that. See,
yeah.
This is why I do conversations with Tona Brown, because again, people see our branding, they see our art, but they don't get to know us as a person. Right. We are people.
Yeah, it's true though. So a lot of people don't know that. It is in my bio, but a lot of people don't know that. So I've always been inclined to be in the arts, and so I went to LaGuardia High School, the High School of Performing Arts, and I got in for both drama and voice, and decided to go for voice. Always wonder what my life would have been if I picked drama, but probably, I'm thinking I'll probably be. But yeah, I got in for both. Did voice. I didn't graduate from there. I went to like 3 other schools. I was doing a lot, right? I was like, I was bored. I couldn't concentrate. I just wanted to get out of there. High school wasn't even for me, but I just got my high school diploma when I was 42.
Oh, well, congratulations. It's never too late.
Yeah, never. And it wasn't about, smart. It's just I didn't like school that way. I was great in English and social studies, hated math with a passion.
Me too.
Is that left brain? That's right brain. I'm not a right brainer.
Right.
I'm completely left brain. So I have to really focus on certain things. So that, so I think I covered a little bit.
Yeah. So that's basically how you got involved in the arts from a young age. So how did it So, and most of us who are in the arts now, that I went to an art high school as well, the Governor School for the Arts in Norfolk, Virginia. And I went through the same thing with my parents and, people being very supportive, and all that good stuff. So that's a blessing because not everyone comes from that. But when did you decide, or what was the opportunity that happened? Because you know how we manifest things, right? Yeah. How did you manifest a record deal or doing the amazing work that you've done?
Well, the manifestation definitely came from when I was younger, and then just knowing that that's what I wanted to do. I think I took a lot of opportunities that came that made sense. So when I had already had my daughter, so I was about 19, 20. I met when I was a little younger than that, I met this manager. His name was Willie Kitchen. I'll never forget. I wonder if he's still alive, but he introduced me to Wendy Creedle at MCA. She wanted to put together a girl group. So and wanted to do a production deal. So I made the group, and funny enough, the other 4 women, a lot of them were from Boston, and one of them was Marie Wright, better known as Free, who was my sister. Right, who was my sister. We're very close. And we're talking about, and I'm her big little sister. She got me by like 2 years.
Okay.
But I'm way more worldly than she is. So she calls me her big little sister. We did a production deal. I knew Heavy socially from like where I grew up, going to the parties and stuff like that. But he was the one that she put us with a few producers. He was one of them. Mm-hmm. The day we were recording, I had hung out the night before. I was hungover. I was late. Yeah, I was a wild card. Like I was like, I'm professional, but I messed up a little bit. I got there.
Well, you party hard and you work hard, so
exactly. And I was late, so he made me run around the block because he wanted me to sing lead on that song for whatever reason, So he said that day after we finished the song, he said, I'd love for you to do some reference vocals for me. I was like, sure. Ooh, that's a couple of dollars. That's cute. All
okay. Right. A coin.
Right. I'm like, sure, just call me, whatever. So he hadn't called me. This is like a couple of months, maybe like 2 months. And Christmas was coming around. I think it was like the 23rd or something like that. And I called him. I was like, yo, Negro, you know what I'm saying? In the other word. And I was like, yo, Negro, I said, what's up? You didn't call me. I was like, what's going on? You got any work? Right? He was like, my bad. It's been nuts or whatever. And he was like, yo, you come down tomorrow? And I was like, yeah. He was like, I got something for you to do. I was like, wonderful. Go to do the reference vocal, at a professional studio. I finished and I'm still in the booth, and he's sitting up like on the, he's in a chair at the board, and he has his feet up on the board, like on the, how that leather piece that where you put your elbows, if anybody knows what the console, what is that thing called, Tona? Jeez.
What is that thing with all the little,
right?
The board, the mixing board?
It is the board. It's
you're right.
The mixing board, right? And at the time, you got like a 70-something track in a professional studio. Anyway, and I'm looking at him, so I'm like, what is he doing? He's like thinking. I'm like, hello? And he was like, you know what? He was like, yo, I like this. He was like, you know what? You could keep this record. And I was like, oh my God, that's awesome. I'll have, in my head, I'm like, oh, I have a professional demo. I was like, cool, wonderful, right?
That part.
So I'm like, kind of waiting for the next thing. I'm still in the booth, headphones on. I'm looking at him, I'm like, oh God. I'm like, okay, are we like, we're good? Is it? He was like, you know what? He said, come in tomorrow. We're going to start your album.
What?
I was like, can I curse? Because it was funny.
Yes, you can.
Okay, this is probably, I'm a cursor. I'm a swearer. I love it. But I try to keep it really cute. But I said, stop fucking playing with me. I was like, stop it. He was like, be here tomorrow and be on time. Because I had a thing with lateness
Right.
at the computer.
On
When
time.
I'm younger. I did. It's much better. It's much better. And not that you could tell from today, but
You are fine, girl. You're fine.
but that's how it started. And then the next week, I was signed to Uptown Records. I went to meet Andre Harrell, and he told me I was going to be the Black Madonna, and he was gassing. It was great. It was a whole theatrical thing. It was wonderful. But I was signed to Uptown Records the next week, and was one of the last acts. It was Soul for Real got there right before me, and then me, I was like one of the last successful acts. I think one of the last acts to be signed actually to
Wow.
Uptown before it went defunct. And my first album was on Uptown MCA.
Oh my goodness. Is that the one that we all know?
Yep, the debut.
Ah!
I Miss You, Me in the Tub with my feet.
Yes. Yes. Oh my goodness. I tell you, I was always such a fan. So that's why this is such, well, it's when we talk about manifestation, it's just like, it's been so wonderful to do this show and to be able to talk to people that I admire so much, because those are only people I really talk to. So
right,
like,
I get it. Why not? Right? I mean,
and I followed your career, and then when I saw that you were getting married and that big old spread, girl, I was jumping up and down, grabbing magazines. So tell us about. Oh, girl,
so much.
When I'm
it means a lot.
Well, it just really, it brought me to tears. And I know so many other people too, because again, just like my Carnegie Hall debut.
Yes.
Representation is everything. And like to see you all looking so proud, so amazing. You two look so great. Your dress was everything. I was just going in. I was grabbing magazines and like posting stuff. So tell us a little bit about that. Like, so you've gotten all the way through, you got your record deal. When did you meet your wife, and how did all that happen with you getting married and being on covers of magazines?
Well, so after the third album, I got dropped from the label. They sent the box to my house with all of my the shows that I've been on and all that stuff. I was like, oh my God, like no phone call to the lawyer, oh, we're just gonna send stuff. Okay. So
that's a part of the industry that people don't know about, that we have been talked about on this show.
Right. And so it was very unceremonious. But it was a blessing because and I didn't realize this right away, because it really kicked up abandonment issues that I had already. And so I'm figuring it out. I get a call from my road manager that was working with me all those years. And he said, Mo, they're looking for somebody to, you ever wanted to do a play? Can you act? I was like, yeah, absolutely. And my first thing in my head was, oh my God, like not one of those, oh mama, please, Lord. Like I was like, I can't. Like I had seen I'm an elitist because I come from theater. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
absolutely.
And I have to say that I absolutely appreciate, and I think it's absolutely necessary to tell our stories for sure. But at the time it was just like I think the component of religion and all of the things kind of together, it was never my cup of tea, so to speak, the way it was done. So, and then they were, sometimes they would be bad, like to be bad acting. Yes. Great singing, horrible acting. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, no, I'm good. Like, don't worry about it. No, I'm good. I didn't even ask him who it was, what it was. I said no. So he called back and he was like, Mo, are you sure? I was like, oh God. I was like, what's the name of the play? He was like, Men Cry in the Dark. That's one of my favorite books. I like that book. I love Michael Benson. So I said, oh, okay. I said, oh, he was like, his name is Jacarius. He's a playwright from Houston. It's his first play. It's Richard Roundtree, Alan Payne, Christopher Williams, two of whom my friends.
Iconic.
Yeah. I was like, but before I found that out, I said, what character, like who they want to play? And they said Tracy, and she was my favorite character in the book. She was the lawyer who was that was getting married to So I was like, Oh, and it was like 3,500 a week. And in 2000, that was cute.
Okay, that was a coin.
That was super cute.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes. So after that, I started doing a lot of theater. So I started doing a lot of what they used to call the Chitlin circuit, which is not that anymore. It's a multi-million-dollar
Absolutely.
you know what I'm saying? And so I did that for a while. And then what I call them are the dark ages of my existence up until that point. And I call it the dark ages of my life. And I started partying. A lot of people, I did, have an issue with cocaine addiction, and I did a lot of partying. It had nothing to do with the industry. A lot of people think I never touched the stuff like in my, while I was working and professionally in any capacity. I didn't drink when I had to work. I did drink a lot though. So I started, kind of escaping and trying to find solace and in substances and alcohol. So, that went on for about 6 to 7 years. And in that interim, I started working with a childhood friend who's a musician, and I got with her in her band. And so I started working downtown in what they call the Triangle in New York, the Village. I started working at the Groove, and then I was part of a wedding band, and then I became co-owner with her of it. And around that time, I was getting, it was the use was wearing on me. It wasn't fun anymore. I didn't feel like myself. I was, you can't tell what you look like when you're doing certain things. You think you're pulled up and shit. And although I didn't look, but anybody that knew me knew something like, and when I look back at pictures, I'm like, whoa, I'm like, okay, oh God. Right. So I'm like, girl, what were you doing with that red ass hair? What were you doing with that red? What were you doing? Right. So,
right. We all got those pictures.
And I've known Therese on the periphery for the last 25 years. We have mutual friends. And so we weren't directly connected, but we were connected by so many different people in the community. So when we saw each other, we say, hey. She was really close with a very good friend of mine. And one night she couldn't find chicken. She loves chicken. She loves chicken wings, right? Like buffalo wings. But she wanted this particular chicken that the Dominicans make at this certain spot. They always have chicken. They have the rotisserie chicken. And she was PMSing, and her friend they go there. And I'm talking about, this is a chicken place. Like, they always have chicken. Tona, they didn't have any chicken.
Oh no!
They went to two of their spots, and they had no chicken. I don't know if it was a delivery thing or just an act of God, because this is how this happens. So, and the friend is Jazz. Her name is Jazz, and so Jazz called me and said, "Mo, you singing tonight? You down at the Groove?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, okay. I got to resume. She wants some chicken." We went everywhere. I was like, "Fine." I was like, "I got you." I said, "You guys want wings?" I got them a seat right in front of the stage. It's like really small, like a beer bar. And so the stage is like maybe 3 feet away from the tables, like the riser. So they sit right in the front, in the middle, dead set center. I get on stage, and you hear the chords for Purple Rain. Now, Therese has never heard me sing live. She only knows of my recording. And a lot of people don't know that I can really sing, not just like, I was younger on records, but it's different.
Ain't that here?
You know what I mean? Yeah, okay, I actually can hold a tune. You don't know how much of it is recording, but like when live is where I shine. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So she's like, and I saw her. So she's like this. I see her. So this is the wing, and and she's looking good. I'm like, God damn, Therese look good. But like, all of us, so I'm trying to be extra cute and pulls up, right? So she's like, she hears the chords, and now that I know her, I know she was talking through her teeth about, like, I know what she was saying. So she's like, I just see her doing this, and like turning from the stage, like, and my friend is like, no, you're good, you're good, she's good, she got it, right? So I started singing Purple Rain. She was blown away because she was like, wait a minute, those chords sound dangerously close to Purple Rain. Oh my God, please. She's a music elitist. Her nickname is B-side because her nickname is B-side. And she was like, oh, holy shit. She could sing. So when I got off stage, I said hello. And then when I was walking away, I kind of, went like this to the back of her neck, like just to flirt, like, if you're interested, it's fine. If you're interested, it's fine. It's hard for me. Anyway, so it took a minute because I was actually dating the person that I was working with.
Oh.
It was like a Bobby and Whitney situation, child. We were cool, but it wasn't a love affair.
Okay.
But right, it was like Bobby and Whitney. We partied together, worked together. It was a mess. But a good friend, it was that was a mess.
Won't he deliver? He done delivered you from that.
Yes. So, we're going back and forth on Facebook. I invited her to North Carolina to see a play I was in. She couldn't come. So, she knew I was dating that person. So she was kind of like trepidatious. And so I was like, look, because I knew I wasn't staying there forever. I was like, look, I know, I said, there's nothing wrong with us getting to know, being friends. Like, we could get to know each other. Let's go have dinner. And she said, okay. Because she had I invited her to a show, and that's when I told her that. And she was like, okay. We went out, and this is from her. We went out, and she said she was like, so are you, she was like, you play games with people, like, because I guess when you see me, or what she was explaining is that, of course, if you see me out and I'm partying and I'm having a good time, you don't really know me. Like, you haven't spoken to me, or what you get is completely different from if we're one-on-one and we're, having real conversation. And she said she was just like blown away, like by my brain, how I saw the world, how I spoke, because, when I'm out chilling, I'm just like, it's real, whatever, real relaxed. But, when I'm speaking with somebody, especially, somebody I'm crushing on, I think is gorgeous. And I thought she was amazing. She's an amazing person.
Yeah, so smart and talented.
She is. And we courted for 6 months. It was the first time that I courted, that I didn't just, do the flesh route. Like, we didn't rush to be together physically. Right. We really became friends. Know one another. And the rest is, damn it, it's history. So when I went to do R&B Divas, I asked her if she would, mind, they were talking about my life and being on my life. So I was like, do you have any aversion to being, shooting scenes with me and being a part of it? And she said, no. I let them know from the door, like, this is not salacious. I don't want this to be, this is my real life. This is my real love. And I kick your ass if you guys try anything. Let me just say that straight away. So they were clear not to mess with, me. And we didn't have to do a lot of that. They tried it at first, but because we're all real, we're real artists, you don't have to manufacture any kind of anything. No drama. It's all going to be right there, baby. Like,
Oh yeah. And I love stuff that on R&B. I was just like, you know what? Thank goodness you were authentic. And we know a lot of people in the industry, we don't even have to name names. I never do anyway. But there's a lot of that's in industry that have double lives and all kinds of things. But that's what made us so proud of you when we finally saw you on the cover. So, but tell us how you, girl, I'm trying not to get too emotional, but tell us how you got on that cover. Because I'm telling you, it just blew my mind.
Which cover, babe? I'm sorry.
Was it Essence? Which one where you guys were on your marriage shot? It was on the cover of some magazine.
It probably was I can't remember.
Oh.
I'm terrible. But okay, I know Essence. covered it exclusively.
Yes, that's the
They
one.
covered it exclusively. And that was like amazing.
How
when
did
it
that happen?
Because they asked if because we shared our wedding with the show. They said, you know, do you guys want to do a ceremony? Because we got engaged on the show.
Okay.
And then the next season, we actually got married, which
Oh.
was the last show ever. That was the last episode ever. Because they didn't want to pay us, TV1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a lot of people.
Because we did a deal for us to all get what we, you know, the same. We did Favorite Nations. And then when they would have to pay, you know, individually, they just deaded it.
No. Mm-hmm.
But Nikki and I are talking about a reboot of sorts, or producing something that we own, that's our IP, and you know, kind of do what's happening with them now, because there was so much stuff that did transpire, just some healing stuff that, you know, we've grown with in different places. A lot of friendships were strained.
Yeah.
Just because they were just because of communication and things that were happening in the behind the scenes that we weren't aware of, and then the way we were all handling certain things. So we all have reconciled, we speak to one another, but there's a lot that needs to be shared. And so Nikki and I are, who by the way, Nikki and I's relationship was the most strained from the show. It just happened that way. And we were the closest.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just non-communication. I didn't know what she was going through. She didn't, you know, she wasn't communicating with me, so I couldn't be there for her. And then she started doing, it just seemed like it was weird. So it just became a little weird. And, you know, we're back talking, and, you know, we want to show the healing of that.
Good. And I'm glad for you to let people know that who were watching that you know. And again, it goes back to the fact that when people see you on TV, they have this perception of who we are. Right. And again, it's television, everyone. It's entertainment. So everything is not as it appears. And to explain that to your family and friends.
Exactly. And, you know, but for us, Tona, this was real stuff going on. The arguments were real. The situations that we were frustrated about were real. Like, and then even some stuff from that wasn't, you know, of course, things crossed over because, you know, things were going on in you know, behind the scenes, you know, where we weren't shooting, that affected us in the shooting and going through the process. So it was real. We never fabricated anything. Those things were real. Yeah, that was real shit, honey.
Wow. Because I've been on sets when I was trying to do a little reality. and I knew it wasn't for me simply because of, one, the contract. And then two, they would make up little scenarios.
Yes.
And then someone would stand up and say, ask this person so and so and so. And it would be something treacherous. And here I am playing violin behind them. And then they're spitting and fighting at them.
You're like, no, man.
No, this doesn't work for my brand at all. I can't do that.
Exactly.
But again, that is all a learning experience. And one of the things that I'm so blessed that all of you have been doing is telling the real side of not only yourselves, but also the industry, because there's so many wonderful things, but there are so many tragic things as well.
For sure.
And many of my friends, like you were talking about, lost record deals.
Right.
You know, they were put on, their projects were shelved.
Yeah.
You know, all kinds of things.
It's a real thing. Yeah.
It is
some artists become tax write-offs. Period. That's it. They don't even make it. They'll do your whole record, and you're still owing them money, and they're able to write it off. You know what I'm saying? Because they're spending your money. That budget is yours. You have to pay it back. And so, you know, I wish I was more diligent and plugged in. But again, not a right brain. I'm a completely left brain. So all of that stuff. Okay, I got an accountant. I thought I had all of that. I was like, okay, somebody else can deal with that.
Right.
And I just wish I was a little more on the ball with it, you know?
Right. Well, we live and we learn. And I think that conversations like this are things that help everyone. It really, because people need to hear what we go through and also what inspired us to do the things that we're doing. And you're giving so many people so many tips just talking about your story on how to be successful. And so I wanted to leave with that. Are there any advice that you would give a young woman, especially, but anyone, but a young woman specifically of color who is trying to get into the industry? What would be 2 or 3 things that you would advise them about?
Own your IP. You can do this on your own. It is, especially now, that's the blessing. We can be independent and take care, have a great team, understanding that this is the music business. It's not just about creativity. And if you're not business minded, that you have a great team around you that is going to support you, guide you through, and take care of the things like your metadata. You have to make sure, even when you're posting stuff that you've done just on IG, you want to make sure that your metadata is correct, like, and that it's locked in. So anytime that is locked in as your IP. So because, you know, people are doing things on like TikTok and Instagram, and every time if the metadata isn't right, it'll every time somebody uses it, it looks like their original stuff. And that will happen if you do streaming. You really have to be aware of that. And I'm learning this stuff as I'm speaking. Like, I'm clear on some things, and then I have a very good friend named Joya Owens, who's also an artist. At the time we met when I came out, like we came out around the same time. She's from Detroit. And I would advise anybody to follow her company on IG. It is at the Friendship Society, Friendship Society on IG. She gives so much information, and she's an amazing consultant. She knows her sugar honey, I see. And that's who I'm working with, because and I really want to make sure that I'm doing right by this present project.
Ask her if she'd be willing to come and talk to us, because
she would absolutely.
I would love to have her come and give us some tips.
I will introduce you guys on email. She's an amazing woman. And it's so funny. God and the universe just work so many ways. It's just interesting. But she's amazing. And if you follow her on IG, just so you know, at the Friendship Society, she gives oodles of free information. Like, she doesn't hold back. She's an excellent consultant. She can take care of all those things for you. She does classes. But know your stuff, right? You are enough. You're enough.
All right now.
Right where you are. Continue to grow in your craft, to believe in yourself, and ultimately, especially in this business, don't shit where you eat. Keep your coochie to yourself. Don't sleep.
That's right.
You're working with.
Yes. Thank you.
Really, it can be really, thankfully didn't have that issue. But I have friends, and I saw how detrimental that can be, to the trajectory of your career, especially if you're dealing with a label or of sorts or anything. Stay clear of keep the relationship, stay professional.
Okay, well, like I said, thank you so much for coming on Conversations with Tona Brown. I am here with the amazing Monifah, and I've been wanting to do this interview for a long time. So
thank you so much. You're amazing, Tona. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. No, thank you so much. I want people to hear the knowledge that you all have to present to all of us, because you're all special and unique and amazing. And especially if you're out proud and you are just fierce, I'm going to uplift you. Okay.
Thank
And so,
you. Thank
so
you.
that's my job, and I want us to do more to support you. Can you just tell everyone really quick where they can follow you and how can we support you more?
Well, buy my records when they come out. I'm doing NFTs. I'm doing music NFTs. So a lot of my stuff is going to be sold as NFTs, which is excellent for me and my supporters because I get to share things with them. It's a mutual exchange of gifts. I am able to share my royalties. So you are a part of the project. You are a part of it. You are emotionally invested as well as, financially invested. And you can follow me on IG, Facebook, and Twitter. They're all the same handle. It is the Monifah, Monifah, just
Boom.
the Monifah.
Boom. So everyone, let's go and make sure we support the Monifah. Please buy her albums. I'm a huge fan, so she will be back. And whenever you have anything to promote, let me know. I will put it out there for everyone.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you, Mama. You're
Thank you. Same here.
To so many of us. Keep up the fantastic work. And thank you so much for being on Conversations with Tona Brown. Mwah, 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 mwah.
Love you.
Thank you.
Bye, honey.
Bye.